Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's nscaler454 here. I have not given any updates on the layout, and as you can see, I haven't really done anything to it. I have built some structures, which I put some videos up. You guys can watch those if you so choose. But as for the layout, it has been dead, and the reason for it is I'm at a bit of a crossroads with myself in what I want to do. I'm second guessing this is the layout that I want. Mainly, is it big enough for me? And there's some obvious things I need to change. Number one being the width of these kickouts. It's just not wide enough for what I want to do. So I went ahead and built or designed a new layout. I'll see if I can get this to focus so you guys can see what we're doing here. Here's the idea. This is where we're looking at right here. And this is essentially from this point, the layout that I currently have. As you can see, the idea is to expand quite significantly, actually. This is a 2x4 section here, and this is another 4x8 section. So the first thing I need to do is right here. Right now, this kickout is 4 inches. I'm redesigning it to be a full 12 inches of kickout. In fact, this chunk right here that I would cut here would go in perfectly right there. The reason for that is the radius of these corners are just too tight. And I know you can get away with 11 and 12 inch radiuses, but I don't like them. They're too tight for me. So this, I can now do a full 16 inch radius on the outside, and then I might be able to get away with a 15 inch radius on the inside. We'll see. Also, this used to be the engine facility and maintenance and yard and refueling, whatever. Ignore all this stuff. But no longer is that the case. This is going to be a refinery. That refinery. So I'll put a refinery in here, some fueling stations and whatever, and maybe some staging for those tankers. And then it's going to flow pretty much the way it did before. It's still going to come underneath that bridge, which is here, right? It is going to still lead into the grain elevator, which is along the top. I've decided that this used to be designed to be 2 inches high. I need to make this 3 inches high. The reason for that is because when you take your bridge and you lift it at 2 inches, it is not very high off the track. It doesn't look very good for a bridge of this size and shape. So 3 inches looks a lot better. So we want to do that. Where are we? I have no idea what I'm going to do really in here and how to tie these two sides together, to be honest with you. I have a couple things that I definitely want. Number one is this rear main line right here. I want relatively uninterrupted, but it needs to tie into the front section here and probably the front section here. But otherwise, I don't want a lot of traffic on that in terms of staging traffic or switching traffic. And that's going to route all the way around to here, blah, blah, blah. The outside upper main line does a decline here, goes behind a backdrop right here on this inside. So this inner line here is going to be not visible. Comes around again. This is 3 feet here, so again 16-inch radius, and then I have my engine facility, the turntable, some refueling, sanding, a bit of a staging yard here. I want to do some little extra industry switching on this side here. Up here, I'd like to maybe do a paper mill or a steel mill or something up in here, some sort of industry that might tie into all the way here, but I can't go too high with that, and I'll show you that in a second. Mainline flow, I can go straight up and around to this line here. I can go straight up and turn to this one, or I can go to the outside and that one. So I do have some mainline travels that I can go through here. Maybe it's not completely prototypical, but it's what I have to work with. But if anybody has any ideas on how to tie this in or any suggestions, by all means, let me know in the comments. I'm open ears. So let me give you a recap of the change of plans on the actual layout. I brighten up the camera because it gets a little dark. So like I said, refinery in here. This will be wider so I can get a better radius. This will still move over the track through that bridge. Comes up 3 inches now to where I'll have my grain elevator. I actually like how I have my grain elevator set up the way it is. I think, any changes I'll do will be pretty minor. A single piece of track, our flex track, should give me 8 cars or so on that siding, which means a good 8 cars over there, which I should also have about 8 cars in the back, which should be plenty for that industry. Again, I don't know what I'm doing on the inner part, especially up in these corners, but I will figure it out as I go, I think, because I just got to get going on something. That little structure I'm going to have to build for you. Yeah. Paint booth. That's where I do my airbrushing. That little airbrush and a compressor, that's been handy. I got it off Amazon for like $140 or something. I can't remember, but maybe I'll do a review or something on that. But anyways, anybody does weathering and stuff, pick yourself up an airbrush. It's very handy. Problem, obviously, I think I mentioned this before, is the electrical panel. You're not supposed to cover it up. But I've seen it covered up millions of times, and I have, if I go with a 2-inch deep benchwork, I'll easily still be able to get to my panel. I can easily relocate the cables up to a higher location, no big deal. A 2x4-inch bench there, which I could lead into an 8x3-ish benchwork on the side here. So that shouldn't be a problem. But it would mean I will not be able to put any kind of backdrop underneath that right there. If there is any, or going to be any, it won't be much. The benchwork, as you can see, there's a bit of a dip down here on the, I drew on there. That's to tell me that there is a dip in the table. It drops down about 1/2 inch, which is not good. I think it's because I don't have any middle support legs, so I'll have to add those and try to raise that up, because yeah, a 1/2 inch drop from in 4 feet is too much. This backdrop, that is 12 inches tall. I thought that should be plenty. I might change my mind on that. I think 18 inches might be better. Some other YouTubers say that 18 inches is the way to go, but I have to figure out what I want to do with the backdrop. And that is not cheap. So yeah, I think it's also important to get your backdrop before you start really doing your layout details, because if you start doing your scenery and then get your backdrop behind there, it may not look right. So I got to figure that out. Which also brings me to cost, finances. Like many others, I have been unfortunately directly impacted with this whole COVID-19 coronavirus deal, which is unfortunate for all of us that are suffering. I mean, most of us are in that situation, which means I have to be careful on what I want to do with this layout, because I'm going to choose food and living over building trains. That's just the reality. And I think everybody should take that decision. But even though this is a fun project to kind of keep us, sane and get through this crappy time that we're in, we got to be financially smart, which is why I think I just want to work on this section here. In terms of like getting some track down, some of my elevations and whatnot, work on the stabilizing this benchwork before even tackling that new section right there. So if you guys want to see how we do on that, by all means, subscribe, hit the like button. If you guys want to support the channel, there's some links in the description. And otherwise, stay tuned, and thanks for watching.